task is not so much to see what no one has yet seen, but to think what nobody has yet thought, said physicist Erwin Schrödinger. Hi, I am Shruti Jahagirdar, and welcome to the Curious Human Project, a podcast about sport, health, habits, and the strange, brilliant ways we try to stay human. Today's guest is someone I have known for over a decade, a dear friend, and someone whose clarity of thought has always intrigued me. Atinderpal Singh. Atinder is a BTech in engineering physics from the prestigious IIT Guwahati. He is the founder of ATP STEM, a competitive exams coaching center in Dubai, which is one of the largest in the UAE. In 2018, he was awarded the Topmost Physics Teacher in the UAE and was also ranked 13th internationally by the CENTA Teaching Professionals Olympiad. But beyond his achievements, Atinder is an explorer at heart, a licensed skydiver, a passionate motorbike racer, and a photographer who's constantly drawn to experiences beyond the predictable. In today's conversation, we talk about why we chase adventure and what it is about thrill beyond our mundane lives that excites more and more people, and what these pursuits reveal about the way we think, learn, and stay human. Atinder, welcome to the Curious Human Project podcast. I am so happy you are the first person I'm speaking to. Shall we begin?
Hi Shruti, thank you so much for inviting me. It's great to be on the podcast with you. We have known each other for such a long time, and I'm sure that this conversation is gonna be very amazing, interesting, and slightly intimate as well because you know in and out of my life.
I
So
know,
let's
and, and
start.
and yet I feel like I may discover new things today. So cool,
Yeah,
let's begin.
yeah.
The first thing I want to know about also me, but also my listeners, is a little bit about you, about your background. Where did you grow up? And growing up, who and what were probably your best influences? And some childhood memories that perhaps shaped you, or the ones that you keep going back to that you remember often. And I certainly remember many of them. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I grew up in Amritsar. My grandparents moved from Pakistan during partition time, right? And all throughout up until my college, I stayed there. Went to a very Sikh school. It's called San Singh Sukha Singh School up until
Wow,
10th grade. Yeah. And
interesting.
then somebody said, okay, join this coaching institute. They're preparing for IIT JEE. Some cousin of us. And um, I wrote an entrance exam there, got a scholarship, 75%. Then we were able to
Wow.
kind of afford it. Otherwise, it was very expensive. So, yeah. And during that time, my teachers had huge impact on me, right? Um, Today we have a terminology for this nerd, right? I'm a nerd through and through, right? But I don't think of this word in a negative connotation. I think of it as my superpower, right?
Absolutely.
If I can sit, concentrate, learn a particular skill, and be in, let's say, top 90 percentile people worldwide in a reasonable amount of time, that's my superpower, right?
I know, and it's very interesting that you point that out because growing up, we were all told that this is a nerd, this person might be really boring and not amongst the cool folks on the campus. And I guess, this is something that I think is worldwide, and which is why the Big Bang Theory as a show actually happened. Because I think it's a common thing. It's something we've heard growing up so much. I look at my old pictures all the time, some award or something I must be winning, and I look at it and I'm like, wow, I look too nerdy.
What do you mean by look too nerdy?
Probably was, who knows? But that also shows in the pictures.
Um,
But yeah,
I
I
don't think
suppose
looks are nerdy. It's the attitude, it's the way you function, right?
I know,
So yeah,
and
so
I know, and I don't think anybody thinks that hard when they term somebody as a nerd.
hmm. Okay. So you mentioned that people don't want to associate with this terminology, right? Because they are not thought of as cool folks in school, in college, or everywhere, right? try to understand the deeper psychology behind this. Typically, students who do really well, right, they would not be more than 5% of the class, right? But everybody has to feel good about themselves. So if they
Right.
can't compete there, they need to think of something else, right? So somebody would be great in
Absolutely.
sports, somebody would be great in pulling somebody's legs and like doing a prank. So everybody is a superhero in their own mind, right?
Yes, indeed.
And the way we categorize everything in our world helps us to make sense of the reality. So if we can't compete in that direction, then okay, that direction is not good, right? So that's where the terminology comes from, right? And if you understand that, where do you stand or where do you fall in this bigger picture, right? Understanding your strength and your weakness helps you a lot in life.
Absolutely. And I guess that is the reason so many insecurities earlier on in life, because you are young, you've not seen life that much. You don't know how to segregate your experiences and also arrive at your strengths and weaknesses. I think back in school, people would only talk about, oh, you're good at sport or you're good at studies. But then there are so many other skill sets that we don't speak about and also honor as much,
Hmm.
So I would rather have a world where everybody thinks they're actually a superhero, they are actually a superhero, and they know for why, for what reason.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen. So it's really interesting you point that out. But going back to your childhood a little bit, how was it growing up? Tell me a bit about your parents, about your siblings, about your house in Amritsar. What was childhood like? A day in your childhood would be what? Would look like what?
So what I remember is that get ready, go to school, right? And in school, it was not much of studies, right? Because okay, so I do remember going through my science textbook really quickly in first month or something, just out of curiosity that what I have to learn, and rest of the year was party. It was a lot of fun.
I wonder if everybody says this the same, and that is actually my source of envy also about you and a lot of my other friends who are also academically gifted. Is you guys make studying and learning look really simple.
Hmm. Yeah,
You've gone through a book, and you've just somehow memorized or understood much of it. You can come back to it after the party's over and put two and two together and go to the exam and do well.
because it was very interesting. I'm genuinely very curious about things, right? And when I say curious about things, I don't mean that I'm curious to know what Harappa culture was, right? That was painstakingly boring for me, and I hated social studies. So I used to dread that subject. Right before my exams, I will have to sit and mug up stuff. So uh, that was the painful part. But that only happened before exams. On the other hand, subjects like science, they were very interesting to me, right? So it was not work, it was not effort, it was curiosity which was fueling everything.
And I think that's something that all of us have to remember, right? To find that one thing where when you achieve that flow state, it doesn't feel like it's work. And for
Yeah.
me that is in sport,
Hmm.
and that happens even in a new sport that I've never played before. A month ago somebody invited me to play pickleball, and I was holding the racket the first time. I didn't know how the ball bounces. I was holding the ball also the first time, but I'm a huge tennis fan,
Hmm.
and I also play badminton. I have some context to racket sports. And the guys said to me at the end of the session, I was playing with some more experienced players, but they said we had a lot of fun playing with you. It didn't feel like you were playing for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because all the time that I was playing pickle, I was thinking about tennis, the underspin, the overspin, the backspin, and I wanted to experiment all those shots, because badminton is so different, even though it's a racket sport,
Yeah.
and tennis is mostly a sport that I've mostly watched. I have not been on the court as much, and
Hmm.
here I was on a tennis-like court because of pickleball, and I was trying all kinds of shots.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I didn't feel like this is the first time I'm playing this sport. I'll be bored. People who are playing with me will be bored. So I think you make a really important point there. It's the The purpose of life is really to find that what makes you most curious and doesn't feel like work.
And it's interesting that you talk about racket sports. It's We have played badminton together in 2014-15, I remember, right? It used to be in Trade Center. I'm forgetting the name. Was it like
Sports world.
Sports
Dubai
World?
Sports World.
Yes, Dubai Sports
Yeah.
World.
Yeah.
Yes, we used to play badminton there. So, so I was really bad in sports in school, right? Um, I could not play cricket. In football, I could run, right? I had good stamina, but that was all, right? No control on the
Mhm.
ball. So I used to be in the defensive position. My only objective used to be, if there is somebody coming with a ball, just kick it outside and not let them go towards the goal.
The bare minimum.
The bare minimum. No, understanding your strength, because I could run. So I can run backwards towards my own direction as long as there is the person of the opposition team coming towards this. So even if I'm alone, I'm fine. I would just have to kick the ball once and get it out. That was my strength.
Yeah.
Now,
Right.
badminton. My brother used to play badminton. He was really good at it, right? So I used to be somebody to make him practice. So we would go to a
Hmm.
place in Amritsar called Company Bagh. Yeah, Company Bagh is a
Wow.
place.
That was badminton court?
No, they had badminton. They were not courts. They would just put nets in the middle of the
Oh,
road. There used to be a secluded road
wow.
where nobody used to pass, and they put some nets and make the markings for the court, and people used to go there and play. Yeah,
Company bar.
company, not bar. It's Bagh garden.
Oh, okay. So
It's
I thought it
company
was
Bagh.
completely possible in
No.
Amritsar to have a place called Company Bar.
No, it's a company park. It's a public park basically, right?
Okay.
With like very good greenery and all. Lot of people used to go there early morning to do walks and all. I'm sure it's still the same. But yeah, that was very interesting. So that is how I learned badminton, by being a dummy for my brother. But I was really bad. And one thing that has changed my opinion over time is that initially I used to think I'm good at this, I'm bad at this, and that's it. It was quite binary for me. Now,
Hmm.
now I understand that if I'm bad in something, I can improve myself by training, right? By training, I don't mean that just practicing myself, getting coaching,
Hmm.
right? Somebody to tell me that, okay, this is how you need to hold it correctly, this is how you need to practice, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
not because I'm not naturally talented in these sports, it takes me longer to improve, but I
Yeah.
have seen that improvement, right? 2025 was the year when my one of the very closest friends, Ankit Khemka, he was with me in IIT Guwahati. He was my batchmate. He was my lobby mate. We used to live very close to each other. He's now in UAE. So he introduced paddle to me. First day, me, my wife, Ankit, his wife, four of us went. We played paddle. It was I was the worst player on that day, right? But it was interesting, right? Because in paddle there is a glass boundary at the back, so the ball would rebound back, right? And then you're supposed to hit it afterwards as well. I've never seen that in any racket sports. That was very interesting to me.
Like another chance.
Yeah, and the game is not very fast-paced game, right?
Hmm.
It wasn't too slow either, but it wasn't too fast also. So I got hooked. I was like, okay, I need to learn this, right? Even if I'm
Hmm.
not naturally talented at this, the gap between me, my wife, Ankit's wife, it wasn't that much. Ankit is a pro, right? So that's why he got us all together. But the gap was not that much. I'm like, okay, I can try this. So I started playing that every week. After certain time, I understood the rules. I understood the basics. Then I'm like, I can improve further. So I started training with a coach, right? Those
Hmm.
coaching sessions really helped, right? If if a person who's good in sports needs, let's say, 4 lessons to go to a certain level, I would probably need 20, right?
Hmm.
But I saw that I can also improve, right?
Right.
So I did take a few lessons that helped me a lot. I reached up to a level where I'm now comfortable. In my friends group, I'm somewhere in the middle. There are some people who are really good, right? Some are natural, some have taken a lot of training, right? But I'm middle of the pack, and I'm very happy because I can play, I can socialize, and it's a feel good factor that you can do this as well.
Absolutely. No, and I think you make a good point that if you feel interested and curious about something, then it's okay to take help so that you can enjoy that activity a lot better. Because I think the only way people think about coaching is if there is a very hard stop or a goal that they really want to achieve, and then they think of it as an investment. But even to enjoy something that you think you want to do, taking help is actually a good idea.
You have put it in a way that taking help is not bad. Actually, no. Taking help is absolutely necessary in every field. If you are good at something, taking help will push you further, right? So even if I was good in, let's say, studying science, my teachers are the ones who pushed me a lot and brought me to this level.
Yeah,
If
and hold that thought because we're going to come back to that. We're going to come back to that further in the show. But yeah, go on.
so basically training is a must, right? So my old belief used to be, if I'm good at something, I should invest more time, and I never used to give enough credit to training. I used to take that credit myself. Oh, I'm really good, I'm working really hard. No, that's not true, right? The fact that I went to that coaching academy when I was in grade 11 and 12, right? The fact that I met my physics and math teachers who were amazing, very encouraging, and highly knowledgeable. The fact that my father could put all this together and make that happen plays a huge role, right? Today I believe that there are a lot of people who are very intelligent, naturally talented, because but they did not get these opportunities, and hence they are nowhere close to where other people are, right? So this is pure luck. This is pure chance. We give a lot of credit to ourselves, but that's not true, right? The fact that I was born in India and not in Nigeria has a huge role to play, right? The fact that I was born into a family which was a middle class family and could afford that level of schooling, right, was pure luck, right? The fact that I got parents who were smart enough or um, learned enough to send their kids and emphasize on education was pure luck.
I
Hmm.
agree, and I think people take a little while before they can accept what their privileges were. And because you talked about India as well, I think one of the privileges that I wouldn't have articulated in the way that I'm going to um, is also because you are not aware of it. I wasn't aware completely or fully of being an upper caste, for example.
Hmm.
I mean, of course, I had the educated family. I had parents who were aware, who were pushing me to do good things, to study, to take interest in art, all of that. But I wasn't so critically aware of the caste angle, for example, and what it means to be upper caste. And now I am. And I also think that it is actually a great idea for people to sit and think, sometimes maybe even list down what they think are their privileges, and what you just called luck, being born into a certain family. And by that, I don't mean with a silver spoon, but I mean caste privilege, or the privilege of having parents who are educated, being born in a city. I was born in a city compared to a village.
Yeah.
Small things that have made you, have built the person that you are. And I think it's a really good exercise that everybody should do. But moving on, how did you briefly touched upon how you got into studying for the IIT. How did physics happen? Because when we talk about IIT, it's normally I study computer engineering, chemical engineering,
Yeah.
ENTC, whatever. So how did physics happen?
Yeah, sure. It's a slightly longer story, but let's do this. So I think in grade 5 or 6, there was cable TV in the house for the first time, and there were so many channels to watch, right? And
Yeah.
my favorite channel was Discovery Channel. because I was naturally inclined towards that direction. So I would sit and watch a lot of stuff that my parents would not watch, my siblings would not watch,
Yeah.
right? And there were few shows about car racing, Formula One, stuff like that. And I would watch those on repeat because at that time they did not have too many shows, so they would repeat it after few days at certain times, and I would watch every time, right? I was so
Hmm.
obsessed with cars at that time. And then
Hmm.
I started collecting, uh, you know, pocket money, which was like I think 2 rupees every other day that my grandfather used to
Wow.
give me, right? I would collect that whenever I would have 15 rupees, I would go to a used paper market, the Raddiwalas, and buy
Hmm.
old car magazines from them.
Interesting. Nice.
So then I would bring those magazines, I would read reviews about cars, then I got to know a lot about different cars, models, specs, and all that stuff. And in the end, there used to be a chart where they used to list out every spec of every car from the
Hmm.
dimensions up until to the engine measurements. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I did that for a year or so. So I collected a lot of such magazines. And my father was like, "What are you doing? I mean, how is this going to help?" Right? Okay, you know a
Yeah.
lot about this topic, but how is that going to help you in life? I'm like, I don't
Hmm.
know. I want to become an automobile engineer. I was like, okay,
Hmm.
so you want to be an automobile engineer? Fine. Then I'll get you something else. So he went to the same market. He bought this big textbook of automobile engineering and gave it to me.
Wow.
I'm like,
Hmm. This is the sixth standard.
sixth standard. Yeah. Sixth
Wow.
standard automobile engineering textbook comes into the house, right? I open the book. I'm very fascinated. I'm not able to understand stuff, but I'm very fascinated by this. Oh, suddenly this thing
Hmm.
has come up. Okay.
Yeah.
Then, um, one fine day, I met one of my cousins who was studying in NIT Jalandhar. I think he was studying
Hmm.
instrumentation engineering. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I met him for the first time, and I asked him that, I have this book, but I'm not able to figure it out. I'm not able to make sense of this. He's like, of course, you are in sixth grade. So I'm like, no, but I want to. I'm very
Yeah.
like very curious about this. There are very good diagrams, but if somebody can, make me understand, it would be great. He
Hmm.
said, okay, there is a website called howstuffworks.com. I'm like, works.com.
Howstuffworks.com.
It still
Okay.
exists, right?
Hmm.
Howstuffworks.com. Go to that website. They have a section on automobiles, and they have animations or drawings where they explain each and everything in detail.
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, that is great, but where does this website live? Because there was no
Hmm.
computer in the house, there was no
Yeah.
internet. I'm like, how do I do this? He said, go to a cyber cafe. I'm like, okay.
Hmm.
In cyber cafe, 15 rupees for 1 hour.
For yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
15 rupees for 1 hour. Okay, so then my pocket money started going there. So I would collect whenever it is 15. I would cycle to a cyber cafe. I will ask the bhaiya, go to howstuffworks.com, just open that and tell me, right? Then I will start browsing. I just learned how to browse from the cyber cafe guy. And
Yeah.
I did this up until 10th grade. Up until 10th grade, I went through each and every section of that website and each and every page of that textbook. And I
Hmm.
understood a lot of mechanisms. I understood a lot
Hmm.
of things in a car, how they function, right? So,
Hmm.
if actual automobile engineering is, let's say, 100% of the content, I would I would have understood, I think, around 25% of the concept, right? Without
Hmm.
getting into the physics of it. But things
Hmm.
like how a valve is shaped, when it rotates, it is able to open,
Hmm.
and then fuel goes in, air goes in, comes out, combustion. Those were simple ideas, right?
Hmm.
But because I spent a lot of time doing all this, I
Hmm.
I became good in
Hmm.
visualization.
Okay.
To be able to visualize things correctly is a huge skill in physics. As a physics teacher,
Oh.
now I understand that, right? I'm able to figure out different students and their skills and capabilities depending upon how they are comprehending a particular question and visualizing through
Hmm.
mental models and then think, right?
Hmm.
Some people are
Can you
not,
give an example of what? Can you give an example of what you mean by visualization?
like, for example, okay, so if I give you a very simple example that, okay, there is a monkey on the tree and there is a person firing a gun towards the monkey
Hmm.
lets go, he's in free fall, and the bullet is going,
Hmm.
will the bullet hit or miss? It's a standard question
Hmm.
from a textbook called HC Verma. Yeah,
Hmm.
right. Now, this question is very popular because everyone can visualize a hunter and a monkey,
Hmm.
right? So,
Yeah.
this is a easy, the questions visualization part is very easy, right? But
Hmm.
the mathematical part of solution is not that
Hmm.
straightforward if you have not done this,
Hmm.
or if you are not very good in projectile motion, which is a
Yeah.
chapter or a topic in physics. Yeah, but there are a lot of questions which are not this straightforward.
Hmm.
Now, let me say a question. Imagine that there is a tube, right, like a tire tube, okay, on the
Hmm.
ground,
Hmm.
and there are two
Hmm.
balls inside the tube, okay. There
Hmm.
is no friction everywhere, we have to ignore the friction. The two balls are placed on the top section of the hollow tube, and when we let go,
Hmm.
the two balls are gonna go like this, right? What
Hmm.
should be the ratio of the mass of the ball and the tube such that the tube lifts off from the ground through this motion?
Hmm.
It's a previous year IIT question. It goes
Hmm.
as a bouncer to most people,
Hmm.
right? But people who are able to visualize, they are able to understand the how the forces are going to act between the two, right? And
Hmm.
eventually how this should work.
Hmm.
If you don't have that skill, you will simply move to the next question. You won't even think or even try to
Hmm.
attempt this.
Hmm. So, to be a good physics teacher, you need to also teach how to visualize, not just the mathematical part of learning physics.
Yes. To be a
Yeah.
good physics student, you need to have this skill, right?
Yeah. And a good teacher will teach that.
Yes, but like this is not okay. This is little bit of natural, and then you can train yourself, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And so going back, so you learned how to visualize and then
Because of
IIT
that.
happened.
So okay, so because of those cyber cafe sessions, right? I became good at this, okay?
Yes.
And I used to hate text social studies,
Hmm.
but I used to like all
Okay.
this stuff, right? So I was like,
Hmm.
I want to become an automobile engineer, right? So then my
Hmm.
father was like, okay, you do a diploma after 10th grade, right? I'm like, that's not automobile engineer, but that's what my father could afford at that time, right? That you
Yeah.
do a diploma, become a mechanic. Like, okay, fine, that's what I'll do, right? Then one fine day after my 10th grade, my father met a cousin of mine. He was working in, I think, Bangalore or somewhere in some IT company. He's like, no, this guy is talented. You should not send him to diploma. You train him for, entrance exams. Like,
Hmm.
then my father was like, okay, but I don't have the money to do this. And he pulled out some newspaper ad where there was a new coaching institute opened in Amritsar and they were holding an entrance exam, a scholarship exam, right? And like,
Wow.
send him to the scholarship exam. And it was in 2, 3 days. I went to that
Hmm.
exam. I don't remember my rank, but I got 75% scholarship. Because
Hmm.
of that,
Wow.
my father was able to afford it, right?
Hmm.
Then the director of that institute, he had a meeting with my dad and the teachers
Hmm.
that this guy got the scholarship. We have a collaboration with so and so school. Actually, the school's name is
Hmm.
DAV Public School in Amritsar.
Hmm.
So like we have a collaboration with that school where our teachers go to the school, right? And they teach during school hours and then evening is free, which means he'll get a lot of self-study time. And my dad's like, I cannot
Hmm.
afford the school fee, right? That's
Yeah.
one of the top schools in Amritsar. He's like, okay, you don't worry. We will speak to the principal. They gave me another test and then they gave me 100% scholarship in the school.
Wow.
So I got into that
At
school.
DAV.
Yeah, right. And I go to that school and I'm feeling like I don't fit in here, because everybody comes from different backgrounds, and they are getting dropped in cars, whereas and my father gave me a second hand scooter, right, which was an amazing achievement, right. He was very happy that I got scholarships everywhere, so I was very happy with that. But yeah, I could see the difference in me and everyone else in class, right. So there was not much time to socialize, hang out, because their thought process was very different. They would read novels and they would talk about those things, and I had no background, right. So I never connected. So what would I do? I would do physics problems.
Wow.
and and if I'm doing a physics question and I'm able to get it and other people are not able to get it, then they would come to me and ask, okay, how did you do this? And then I would explain it to them, right. So my way of doing friendship with my classmates was explaining physics solutions.
That's actually good. Like you said, superpowers.
Yeah, it was. It did not feel nice at that time, right? But yeah, that was my superpower. I mean, in I think 12th grade, some of the students said that, you're gonna become a physics teacher. I'm like, no, no, I'm going to become an
Wow.
engineer. I'll go to IIT, right? Why will I become a physics teacher? And they were like, no, no, you enjoy this. You are really good at this. I never acknowledged, agreed, or even thought at that time that this is actually going to be my future.
Wow. Cool. So, a little bit further on and a little bit about physics. So, look, you're a physicist now, right? Do you feel that in your everyday life you experience some things, if not all, differently, or you connect to them differently? And I'll give you an example. So, on my way to work, I walk to work, and there are two parallel roads, and there is a bridge in the middle which has a walkway under it. So, there are two parallel roads, and there is a walkway that connects those roads. And I need to cross the first road, take the walkway, and cross the second road to get to the other side of the entire street. And so when the signal is green on the first at the beginning, I cross the road, and then I have to take the walkway. And everybody who does this exercise is doing this almost every day because people are going to work or so. And we all know that to cross the first road, take the walkway, and then within the same time cross the next road before the signal turns red for us, we have about 20 seconds, right? And so when I cross the road and take the walkway, all of us know that we have about 20 seconds, and in this time we have to take the walkway and the next road. Otherwise, we'll have another 2 minute signal to wait. And I see that everybody starts rushing in a different way. Somebody is walking faster, somebody is almost running, somebody is being really casual about it. So everybody has 20 seconds, but everybody perceives that time differently, and how they are trying to accelerate themselves is very different. So, this perception of time, which is different between people, often amuses me on that walkway. And so, this I feel is like the closest to how I sort of relate or come back to science when I'm on the road or when I'm outside, and how human behavior, and it also kind of, I connect it to everything, right? I might be saying something to you, or you might be listening to a piece of news on television, and you and I could be interpreting it differently.
Hmm.
And the physical the physical manifestation of this was what I observed on the walkway, that although all of us have 20 seconds, all of us want to rush, all of us want to make it, how we are doing it is very different. Some are running, some are walking, some are just being casual. And so I extend that thought process into understanding the world a little bit better. So do you have any such examples that you see around you?
Okay. So it doesn't have to be physics. See, So
Yeah.
when I say that, visualization is one skill, right? So
Yeah.
that is only one part of the story. There is a lot more, right?
Yeah.
Um, in in order to go through these science subjects um, at a good level of expertise, you need to have a lot of analytical skills, right?
Yeah.
And those are applicable everywhere. That is the reason why you will see engineers doing a lot of stuff in different domains which are not even related to their actual field of studies,
Hmm.
right?
I am that example.
Yeah,
I'm a petroleum
exactly.
engineer who's now in the sports industry.
Yeah, but but
So,
but my
yeah.
point is that you could be an exception, but there are a lot of such people. So therefore, this is not an exception. This is the norm, right?
Yeah.
You will hardly see doctors being product head in a startup, right? But you
Yeah.
will see engineers for sure. You will hardly see
Yeah.
lawyers doing that same role, but you will see a lot of engineers,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Because of these skills, these mental models, these analytical skills that we end up building, right?
Yeah.
And if you have if you have that, right, it really helps if you start questioning everything fundamentally, right?
Hmm.
So that's like first principle approach, right? So my first
Yes.
question would be that why should I walk, right? Because of
Yeah.
course there is a distance. I chose this place, right? Therefore I need to move. Now there are options: walking, cycling, roller skating, taking a car, right? Then once I have that answer, what is my mean of transportation? Okay, if I have to walk, what are my options and routes? What is the shortest route,
Hmm.
right? Or what is the most scenic route that I might enjoy? Then once I have shortlisted one route, then we have to think about optimizing the path. And mostly our brain does this without even realizing, right?
Yeah.
Even if I have posed all these questions to you, you will eventually end up with the same solution,
Hmm.
right? So as you said that people are walking, they're all walking at different pace because of their level of confidence, experience, and how rushed they are, right? How soon they need to get to be as well. So there are a lot of different
Hmm.
variables there, but most of them are taking a particular route which is already optimized. If the two crossings
Hmm.
are not one after the other and they are slightly this way, right,
Yeah.
nobody's gonna go like this, everybody will go this way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You don't have to fundamentally think about this, you know it,
Yeah.
right? And even if you don't know it and you are reaching there for the first time, you will see other people doing it and you will follow,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, so first principle approach is everywhere and it should be, right?
Hmm.
We should fundamentally question everything. That really helps.
Indeed, I completely agree. And it's something that I keep reminding myself because I don't think it's nature for a lot of people. And now that we are being bombarded with information through social media, through news, through everything that is happening, and especially with all of social media, finding the truth becoming very, very important, I think constantly questioning is becoming a critical skill set.
Hmm.
But great. So, taking a step back, tell me a bit about meeting Brian Lara. How did you get to meet him? And I hate to say this, but and your wife Tamina, who's my great friend, told me she was in excruciating pain when she told me कि इसको ब्रायन लारा से अवार्ड मिला है लेकिन ये जानता नहीं है कि ये ब्रायन लारा है कौन. Who's a Tamina is a huge cricket fan, so I could feel her, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So there was this examination that was being conducted. The Center TPO is an organization run by Reliance Industries. So they conduct this exam in all the different schools with all the teachers, right? So there are a lot of schools which have this exam mandatory, and then the private institutes, coachings, teachers, they can also participate on their own, right? So where I was working at that time, the head of the organization asked all of us to go write that exam. I wrote the exam, result came, they called me. There was this ceremony in Atlantis, Dubai, like, okay, Brian Lara is come. Like, they did not tell us Brian Lara is coming, they just said, okay, there is an award ceremony and you come for the award tomorrow. I'm like, okay, I'll go. And because it was an award ceremony, I think that's why Tamina came. And then there was Brian Lara there to give the award. Uh,
Yeah.
he was there. I did not recognize because I don't watch cricket at all, right? Because of the news and everything around me in the house, now I know more. But at that time, like before marriage, my world did not have cricket. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was there. I did not recognize, right? Um, and then he's like, okay, Brian Lara is going to give an award. And she was very excited. And I'm like, why are you so excited? He's like, you have no idea who this person is.
I would be really interested as well, or rather, really amused. Because when you told me that Brian Lara was giving an award to physicists, that itself made me chuckle or feel so amused. And at the same time, really have reverence for the fact that somebody thought that these two worlds could come together and admire each other. you know but the world is not has as enough to amuse us, so long as we're willing to be amused. But wonderful. So I want to come to skydiving. Like, I know that you started learning skydiving in 2014. How did that happen? I want to hear about how you thought about doing it. And you said many times now that you're not sporty, okay?
Yeah.
And skydiving is literally adventure sport. But before that, I also want to ask you, what do you think about just the number of people who are trying to experience adventure activities right now? More and more people say that I want to do skydiving, I want to climb up Kilimanjaro, I want to do bungee jumping, I want to do ice skating, I want to climb the Everest, or even for that matter run marathon, the 42-kilometer complete marathon, or do Ironman.
Hmm.
So, what are your thoughts about why are people chasing these thrills more and more? And when you simply ask somebody, why do you want to do skydiving? People might end up saying that, hey, I really want to experience this thrill. I really want to experience how it feels like to jump from the sky. Or somebody might say that, hey, it breaks the monotony for me and it builds some new memories. And so that's why I want to do it. But I want to go a level deeper. And I can, after you have told me what you think, I'll share with you what I think about it.
Okay. Yeah. So there are multiple factors here, right? But first, before we get into the analysis part, let's go into the event timeline, right? So this was back in 2009 when I was studying in IIT that I stumbled upon a video on YouTube of somebody doing skydiving and then somebody doing base jumping, right? Skydiving is when you fall from the airplane, right? Base jumping is when you jump from a cliff of a mountain, right? That is way more dangerous, right? You need extreme body control, right? And if you are not moving in the right direction while falling, you can end up into the cliff, right? And there is not sufficient height for you to experiment and have backups and all. So there are no backup parachutes, right? So I saw those videos and I was amazed at those people, right? Those people were not just daring, they were very skillful, right? They were doing something completely unthinkable, right? And I came across that because GoPro had released their new cameras at that time. GoPro made it
Right.
possible that people can now shoot all these activities and put it on YouTube,
Yeah,
right? So there
that's
was
right.
2009 GoPro first version.
Hmm.
I think it came 1 or 2 years before that. So I saw all that and I was hooked. I was fascinated by those people particularly. And there was one particular group who was doing it, right?
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, these people are amazing. Okay. So
Wow.
so it was always in my mind that I would want to do
Hmm.
this, right? But
Hmm.
they were doing this in Norway. So
Hmm.
I'm in India, I'm studying, I'm a student, I don't have money, I cannot think of going anywhere else to do this, right? But when I got a chance, when I moved to Dubai, I was earning decent amount of money and I was able to save. And 2014 is when I moved to Dubai, and I saved up until 2015. And 2015 summer is the time when I went to Spain for this training, right?
Yeah.
So I booked.
But you started in Dubai.
No, no, no. I started in Spain. So I did a lot of
Okay.
research about what is the best place to learn skydiving, right?
Hmm.
And it it it, it came out that Spain is a very safe place because of
Hmm.
the amount of support, instructors, and everything that is there, right? Uh, Dubai skydiving was there, right? But it was not as well reputed as Spain, right?
Hmm.
And it
Hmm.
also matters that, what are the wind speeds, especially when you are learning, right? When you are learning, you
Hmm.
want a really calm atmosphere so that, your parachute
Hmm.
lands at the correct place, right?
Hmm.
So that was important. So I did all that research, right? Monetarily as well, the course in Sevilla, Spain was plus the travel plus accommodation was equivalent to doing it in Dubai. I'm like, okay, I get to
Hmm.
see a new country, right? And I get to do this in a safe environment. So I went there. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's how I got into this. Now, um,
You
few
know, before
things.
you go ahead,
Yeah.
before you go ahead, because you mentioned 2009, I think the couple of new things that I have learned about you so far, which I didn't know, was that your interest in physics and your interest in skydiving started years before you
Before.
actually got into it.
Yes.
You know, that's something even as a friend I did not know how far back the seeds of those activities or learning these
Yeah.
subjects actually came into you. And that's actually very fascinating. I don't know if um, it is possible for people to get into it at the level that you are without having thought about it subconsciously, even if not consciously, for a long time or admired something for a long time.
No, I would slightly disagree with this because I have convinced one or two people to get into this sport, and now they are doing it way more than I could have imagined.
Yeah,
Do
no,
you
I'm
remember?
talking about somebody who didn't know
Yeah,
anybody in the sports.
yes.
I
So,
mean,
okay,
you didn't
okay,
have
okay.
friends
Yeah,
in, yeah,
correct.
you didn't have anybody to guide you or anybody around you who could give you first-hand experience.
That is true.
So this
Yes.
was really finding out everything yourself.
Hmm. Yeah. So that goes for everything, right? Whatever passions I follow, yes, I have I got introduced to them way back in my life, right? So people only see at the surface level that okay, 2015, oh, this
Yeah,
guy has learned this. That's I
yeah,
have thought about this for last 6 years, right? Now I have the
yeah,
means to do this, right?
correct.
And to do such activity, right, first you must want it badly enough to take such a risk, because from the outside
Yeah,
it is a risky thing to get into, right? But once you start researching, you understand, you learn, right? You see what are the variables that create that risk, and then you mitigate for it, you train for it, you make sure that most of the factors are in your control. But yes, luck is always there, right?
yeah,
um, but whatever you can do in your control to minimize that risk factor, you do that, and then you feel comfortable, right? But doing
hmm,
all of this analysis objectively is very different from feeling that fear that you feel when you
yeah.
do that skydive for the first time, right?
And that's my next question.
Yeah,
So that was my next question. Can you tell me about that fear? Has it changed over time from the first time you experienced it? So
yeah, yeah.
tell me about the first time, and then how is it now?
Okay, so um, everybody has a different threshold when it comes to adrenaline, right? Some
Yeah.
people, and the risk reward equation as well, right? When somebody is scared, they don't want to do it, right? Or they would shut their body would shut itself down, right? uh, I'm the opposite, right? If I am facing a difficulty, my brain opens up, right? And I start functioning at 200%, right? This I have observed this in many scenarios, not just skydiving, right? So whenever there is a problem, right, I would tap into some extra energy somehow and I would solve that, and that goes everywhere, right? So so whenever when I took that first jump, right, I was scared, of course, right? And more than that, I was looking at ground. This was a completely new experience, right? So my brain is fine, but my hand-eye coordination is not that good, right? As I said, that is my weakness, right? That's why I could not play normal sports, right? So does that mean that I took extra training in skydiving? Answer is yes.
Yes, I know.
I compensated, right? Because my coordination is not that great. So there are different levels of jumps that you have to clear, and at level 5 there was a mishap, right? You have seen that video of mine when I was jumping, and I the objective of
The
that jump
rope
was
got tangled.
to rotate, and I went into a very bad spin, right? Then my instructor came, pulled the parachute. Okay, then I need to do some practice in the wind tunnel. It was it was interesting, right? But see, in spite of having that particular experience, which somebody would call a near death experience, my
Yeah,
brain did not shut down, right? It was my body which
yeah.
was not uh, able to function, right? But I kept going. I figured out a way how to train for this. I did the training in a safe environment. I went back and I figured it out.
I mean, that was. I remember that time very clearly, and you were finding ways to do the additional training. And at that time, I used to think to myself that after the experience of that previous jump, how is he mentally able to continue the momentum, continue to chase the goal, to complete the training, and get get that license?
Hmm.
Because you had to travel between Spain and Dubai, you had to do some of your training in Dubai, some of it in Spain. Things were not going as per plan,
Yeah,
let's put it that way.
yeah,
And yet you were able to continue and complete that training. To be honest, I remember the fear that I felt. I'm not a licensed driver. I did a dive with the pillion,
with a tandem instructor.
diver with
Yeah.
me. Yeah, and I did it back in 2011 in Houston. And of fear, what I remember is, the first time you feel fear is when they make you sign that waiver. So I was 24, right? And some of my friends had used to live in Houston, and they had done this dive there. And so when I was visiting them, I decided to go with them and do it for myself. And when they give you that waiver, and it says that if something were to happen to me, the company is not responsible.
Yeah.
I don't think the fear of jumping out of the plane is as big after you sign that waiver. But but when then after that, when the plane is going up, and trying to get to that height, I think the guy who is going to jump with you, and then the cameraman, I think their job is to keep you calm. Their additional job is to keep you calm.
Yeah.
And you're all basically staring at each other. There are probably three other people who are also going to dive just after you, and you're all just looking at each other, and you're already petrified. And then the door of the aircraft opens, and the wind comes in, and that's the first time you question your decision. And then they make you, stand at the squat
Edge.
at the edge of the plane, and then there is a rod at the top that you're holding, and the guy tells you that you have to swing a little and then let go, and you're like, okay, okay, whatever. And then he does one, two, three, and you're not letting go. And then he's like, come on, we have to jump. And then he says, one, two, three. And then you're not letting go. So the guy literally has to unlock one finger at a time, your 10 fingers, till the time you jump. And then I think the first 7 seconds or so of the dive are free fall. Um, I don't know how you experience that free fall, but I agree with you. I think my mind was stable, in the sense that I was just trying to think, when is this going to become more stable? Um, but I think when the smaller parachute opens is when you sort of are able to breathe, are able to see around you. Um, but that free fall was definitely petrifying.
No, so the free fall is around 45 seconds depending upon from where you are doing this, right? And the smaller parachute that you're talking about, that is just for, reducing the free fall speed. That's not a proper
Hmm.
parachute. Why? Because
Correct.
if there are two people tied together, right? So imagine the force of gravity is now double, but the surface area that is supposed to like, or the air resistance that is supposed to slow you down, which depends upon surface
Hmm.
area, is of a single person, right? So
Hmm.
the actual speed of the dive would be way above 250 kilometers an hour, right? But the
Wow.
cameraman who is with diving with you, the cameraman is falling at around 200 kilometers an hour, right? So how do you match
Hmm.
both the speeds? You should slow down the
Hmm.
faster body. You cannot speed up the
Right.
slower body,
Right.
right? So that is why the
Right.
smaller chute is there. So you're still in free fall though, right?
Yeah.
But with little bit of extra resistance. And your instructor
Right.
was very nice, right? Yeah, if they waited to unlock your fingers, they were very nice. Generally there is not enough time and they just push really hard, right?
Yeah.
I have seen people do 1 2 and go at 2 when the person is thinking I'm going to hold harder at 3.
I think that's a trick they've learned
Yeah,
with time.
yeah.
No, but just taking a step back on why people are doing adventure sport, right? I I don't have to introduce you to the great astrophysicist and astronomer Carl Sagan, who I really worship is the better way, I think, for how he interprets our universe. And in his very famous book, Cosmos, there is a passage which I'm going to read out, and it goes like this: the surface of the earth is the shore of the cosmic ocean. On this shore, we've learned most of what we know. Recently, we waded a little way out, maybe ankle deep, and the water seems inviting. Some part of our being knows this is where we came from. We long to return and we can because the cosmos is also within us. We are made of star stuff. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself. And when I read this passage, Atinder, the way I think of, the deeper meaning of when people say, I want to experience thrill, I think what it is, it is a way for us humans to experience the fundamental forces that our universe is made of. Acceleration, gravity, free fall. When I say I want to do skydiving, what I'm really wanting to experience is gravity, is acceleration in its um, in its full glory. And if I was to think a little bit more philosophically as well, in these moments when you are experiencing thrill, you're experiencing truth. There is no distraction. You're in the moment. There is no way for any other thought in that moment to enter your mind.
Hmm.
And so that experience, that moment, you're fully experiencing.
Hmm.
And that's why it then becomes a very strong memory after you have done it.
Hmm.
That is really what I think about why thrill attracts more and more people.
Okay. See, I don't think everyone thinks of it as, I'm experiencing force of nature, but because, you go to Skydive Dubai or any such drop zone,
Yeah.
there are people from all the different types of backgrounds, right, who are not possibly interested in forces or physics, but they're still doing it, right? So, so it's not necessary that everyone does it for that matter, right? It's
No,
a
so I'm
it's
saying
a
that this is the
unique.
subconscious. So what I was trying to say is that people are not able to frame this. Nobody will. Nobody will say to you that I want to do skydiving because I want to experience gravity or acceleration, or I want to go to the fastest ride in, I don't know, Ferrari World because I want to experience acceleration. But I think that is what is happening inside. That is what the description of that experience is in scientific terms, which then turns into memory. And
Okay.
I think that, yeah, yeah, go on.
Yeah, okay. So basically, um, you know, whether whether somebody is going through a free fall or whether somebody is going through a fast car ride, right? Um, it's more about the perception. It's more about how the brain is recording and what is happening, right?
Hmm.
And you said that people remember this, right?
Hmm.
If you don't have a video of your skydive, lot of people won't
Hmm.
actually remember how it went, because
Hmm.
at that moment your brain is in a fight or flight mode. Your brain is
Yeah.
not thinking properly. Yeah.
Hmm.
So you act the reason why we need to record is multifold. One, we need to tell other
Hmm.
people that okay, we did this such a cool thing, right? And
Hmm.
look at me doing this. The second thing is, this is this is their own reminder to themselves that this is what you have gone through, right?
Yeah.
Now, um, I I started remembering clearly my own jumps after approximately jump number 25.
Wow.
Now what happens is, see, whenever uh, whenever people who are licensed, right, they go for a
Hmm.
jump, it's not just that you have
Hmm.
fallen from a plane and you just go tumbling down, right? There is a
Hmm.
lot of
Hmm.
control, right? You do a lot of stuff with your body to get that control and then have an objective, right? If you
Hmm.
have seen my old videos on Instagram, you would remember that five people will jump together, then they will come close, make a formation, then break away, turn around, move away, right?
Hmm.
All of
Hmm.
that is physics, that is control, right? And
Hmm.
in that moment, you are not in flight or fight mode, you are in
Hmm.
control mode. That is when you remember,
Hmm.
right? In a
Hmm.
tandem dive, people are not in the control mode, right? It's a
Hmm.
different part of their brain, right, which is the scared part of their brain, right? And
Hmm.
that does not form the correct memories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Indeed, but you remember some things. Like for example, my video
Hmm.
does not capture that moment that I was telling you about
Yeah.
of unlocking my fingers,
Yeah.
how the wind came in and how I felt in that moment
Yeah.
when the wind came in and when the door to the aircraft opened, or the free fall, the few seconds of the free fall.
Yeah.
I That is the pure memory from doing the activity, not from watching the video.
Yeah.
Or I actually remember when the larger parachute opened.
Hmm.
That's when I actually started looking at the ground, the grasslands beneath, admiring them. Actually, kind of, there is still fear
Yeah.
inside you.
Yes.
But now you're also taking in other things. Hey, I'm actually on top of the world. I'm able to get this view.
Yeah.
And this view is really beautiful and very green.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that I started registering after the bigger parachute opened.
Yeah, yes. So your memory would be much more vivid afterwards, right? Because
Yes,
you have gotten from that extreme
absolutely.
heightened state to a slightly heightened but still not normal,
Yeah,
right? You
yeah,
only normalize
yeah,
after you have landed and you are safe, and then you start registering, okay, this is what has happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me something. I think there is another reason why someone like me, at least, I try to do adventure, solo travel for that matter. And as you know, I go
Hmm.
to Thailand many times to the sports schools there
Yeah.
to spend a week or two. And it's almost adventure because we are training about 4 to 5 hours a day, something that you wouldn't do even if you wanted in your everyday life.
Hmm.
And one of the reasons why I continue to go, apart from my love to train myself and to learn from different instructors there, is the type of people you meet in such a place.
Hmm.
So, when I have gone to the sports schools in Thailand, I have ended up meeting people who were war victims.
Hmm.
I've ended up meeting people who were religiously conflicted, for instance, and that affected their life quite a lot. For example, a Turkish father married to a Dutch woman, and their daughter, who was training with me, saying that I don't quite know if I believe in Islam or I am Dutch, which is actually very, very open as a culture,
Hmm.
you know. Or I'd meet single mothers. I also was, for the first time in 2016, when I went to Thailand, I actually saw a woman who was probably 50 or 55 or so do a deadlift which was 100 kilos. And before
Wow.
that, in India, I had not seen a woman lift weights like that. And I was like, man, I didn't know women could do this. This was back in 2016. I hadn't seen a single woman around me lift weight like that. And when I came back, I was completely changed. I was completely open to the idea of try me, you know.
Hmm. Interesting.
So for me, it is about the people I have met, and I keep telling people that if you plan a solo travel, you are never going to be solo on that travel,
Hmm.
so long as you're open to experiences.
Hmm.
And I have tested this theory out in different places, even if it isn't Thailand. Even when I went to Cambodia last year, you'd meet people in your hotel, you'd meet people in the pool, you'd meet people in your sightseeing group, and then quickly they would be like, would you want to join us for dinner? And then you share your shared travel experience in that city, in that country, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So I keep telling people that solo travel is never solitude unless you really want it,
Hmm. Yeah.
unless you design it to be like that.
Yeah, because we are social beings, right? And
Yeah,
it depends upon a little bit on personality as well, that are you introverted or are you extroverted? You and I are extroverted for sure, right? But it depends upon personality type. But yeah, so if you get energized by people around you, knowing their story and sharing your own story, yes, it won't be a solo trip. I mean, it starts as a solo trip, but you end up making more friends on the way.
yeah. And did that happen to you when you went to skydiving? Did you meet
Yes, of
people
course.
from different walks of life?
Yeah. So yeah, there was a group from UK. They were also training at the same time, right? They became good friends, and I have jumped with them afterwards as well, right? But now, 10 years later, the group is like not that strong, right? But yeah, so you always do that, right? Uh, we have also traveled, right? Remember, as a friends group to Georgia once, right? We
Yeah,
we met some people, that was also interesting. So yeah,
yeah,
that is always the case. And I would say that the friends that I have made through the activities that I pursue uh,
yeah,
are more meaningful in my life as compared to just traveling, right? Because
yeah,
instantly there is one shared activity that everybody likes, right? And you start
yeah.
bonding over that. So lately I would say that from motorcycling there are a lot of friends that I have, right? And
Hmm.
now all of them have also started playing paddle,
Hmm.
right? One or two people introduced, and then we go for motorcycle group rides, we go on race tracks, we go for paddle as well. And yeah, so this happens all the time.
I completely agree, and I tell my friends and acquaintances all the time as well that if you want to meet new people, find an activity that you really love doing
Yeah.
and go join that activity. So the reason I was taking my example of going to Thailand as well, it was the first time I was planning a solo trip, but I planned it at a place where there was fitness being
Hmm.
at the fitness at the center of that activity.
Yeah.
Right? There were group classes that I had signed up for. I knew since the day I landed what I'd be doing.
Hmm.
And as soon as I landed, the next day in the morning at 7 o'clock, I had my first group fitness class. And there was no looking back because it was a group fitness class. There were many people there. We all exchanged warm greetings in the first class. We kept seeing each other for the next 2, 3 days. Then we were quickly going and eating together. Then we were going and exploring the city together. And then so on and so forth. So, and also, at least for me, my greatest friendships in my life have mostly come in one way or the other from sport.
Hmm.
Even you, I have met because I was going to I was regular
Badminton,
at volleyball, and so
volleyball.
and badminton
Yeah.
and all the sporting activities in Dubai, actually. And so through friends, in fact, I remember meeting you for the first time to watch a 2014 FIFA football match at H Hotel in Dubai. And our common friend Gundeep
Gundip.
introduced us. And so it was through sport. Again, we were watching football.
For you, it was sport. For me, it was my college senior who has asked me to come there,
Yeah.
right?
Come there,
Because in
yes.
my worldview, it was not there. I
But
was
so
more
my
there for
principal
socializing.
says, yeah.
I was new in the town, right? And I just happened to meet Gundeep and one more person, Rohit Raj, right? So
Hmm.
I happened to meet both of them in Trade Center one fine evening, and they were like, "Okay, let's meet up." And this is great. Like I found people from my college, and they just called me
Yeah.
there at that time, right? And
Yeah.
if you see, like I never played volleyball, right?
Yeah.
I was just there to hang out because I'm an extroverted person myself. I like people, right?
Yeah.
Badminton was something that I had little bit idea about, so that I played, but most of that group used to be about volleyball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
indeed. But that's what like I said, that it is for us to put ourselves out in places that make us curious, or you want to participate in, or an activity that you really like. And that's really the best way to meet people that you could be friends with, or whose thought processes you would end up identifying with or learning from, even. But going forward to motorbiking, right? Tell me, what do you think is the fundamental difference between racing and skydiving? How you experience it?
Okay. Now, actually, they are completely different activities, right?
Yeah.
Um, in motorcycling, though, you have more control as compared to
Hmm.
skydiving, right? Because in
Yes.
skydiving, you are just introduced through a free fall, right?
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of time to get used to, right?
Yeah.
There is no such day when you can start your free fall at 30 kilometers per hour and then go to 50. No, it starts at 200,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And then you keep doing at the same speed, at that same level, until you get used to that speed, right?
Hmm.
When you are driving an automobile, the control is in your hand, right? So
Hmm.
you don't scare yourself on day one,
Hmm. That's true.
right? So that is one fundamental difference. You can build your speed with your confidence and skills, right?
Hmm.
You will only get scared if you push yourself beyond your limit and you see something coming up, right?
Hmm.
So I don't think I've never like I generally don't push that hard, right?
Hmm.
So in spite of the fact that I like thrill, I like adrenaline, um, I would not want to push myself to a place where a real damage can happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And thankfully it has not happened so far.
No, I completely agree. I think we see a lot of videos of people not understanding that with danger, you have to be careful. It's good to broach it, but and then in India, there's so many people. There is news almost every single week of some BMW crashing somewhere, or somebody with a Ferrari having crashed recently on the Mumbai ceiling. But these uh, activities, and that's really another way of looking at thrill, in a sense, you know but before that, I have this question for you. Like, do you think that adventure shaped who you are, or did you chase adventure because of who you are?
Hmm. Okay. So, I think adventure came later, right? So, as I said that, I was watching Formula One, uh, and racing, events or shows on Discovery Channel, right? So again, this all started early on, right? I was the happiest person when I got my first second-hand scooter from my father, right? And again, I was experimenting right then and there. I was driving a little faster than normal speeds, right? I would test the limit of braking on that scooter. And in college, I started teaching in an NGO, which was again a coaching center for IIT in my third year, right? So I started earning some amount of money from that, and that place used to be quite far from my college. It used to be like 40 kilometers away. I was supposed to go there twice a week on the weekend, teach there, and come back, right? And if I take a bus, and IIT Guwahati is on the other side of Brahmaputra when it comes to Guwahati city. So there is Guwahati city, there is Brahmaputra river, and then there is IIT Guwahati on the other side. So you have to go to the city and then go to the other edge of the city, right? So that commute was 2 hours, right? So I saved in 2-3 months enough money to buy my first motorcycle. And I did not want to buy just a commuter, not a Splendor or something. I bought a Charisma. So in 2010, that was the most powerful motorcycle in India, right? So, and with that, I could reach in 40 minutes.
Wow.
And the campus of IIT Guwahati itself has beautiful roads, right? Amazing roads. It was extremely fun to ride inside, right? And then 1 or 2 hours across, you can get into beautiful mountains of Shillong. So we would ride there. It was wonderful, right? And it was not that, from day one I'm going fast. No, just because I was riding a lot, I built my skill a lot, and I had a lot of confidence, and speed came later, right? So for me, it was never the case that, I scared myself by doing something and then I adjusted. No, I was never in that position, right? So in Dubai, I bought my first motorcycle in 2022, right? Which was a Ducati. I took it to a racetrack, and again, day one, I was not scared because I was not fast, right? So I slowly picked it up. I built my skill around the racetrack. I took training there also, right? I
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, of course I'm not the best when it comes to hand-eye body movement coordination, right? So I took training there as well so that, I could climb up the ranks, and it was great, right? Irrespective of whether you are good or not good in anything, the like progress requires training, right? There are people who have spent thousands of hours doing one particular activity and they have figured out the optimal way to do that, right? So either you are ready to put those 1,000 hours, right? Or you want to do that in, like, let's say 100 hours through their experience.
No, that's a very important point. And when I was thinking of this episode, I was thinking of the film Free Solo. I don't know if you watched this film,
No.
but this film, it's about rock climbing, but it's also not about rock climbing. It's a film about what happens when someone decides to meet fear without negotiation. And it follows a climber called Alex Honnold when he climbs the El Capitan, which is a massive granite monolith in the Yosemite National Park in California. And he does it without ropes. He was the first person to climb El Capitan without ropes.
Oh.
And Free Solo is a movie about his climb. But this was a feat so precise that one mistake meant death, you know. But what I thought the film said was not so much about climbing, but what stays with you is the stillness, is the preparation, is the unsettling clarity with which he approaches risk with purpose and knows the consequences. And watching Free Solo makes you question where courage ends, where obsession begins, and why some people feel alive with these experiences by being at the edge. And why I'm telling you all of this is because there is a line that Alex Honnold said in this film, and he said, "It's only dangerous if you fall." You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And I wanted to just get your impression of this line.
This is amazing. Yeah, this is so correct, right? See, speed is not the problem, right? The problem is suddenly stopping,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so the point here is that, as long as you are comfortable, right, and you feel that you are in control and you're not being overconfident or underestimating the risk, you're fine.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And also, I think this just one line that he has said, it's only dangerous if you fall, actually gives us a insight into how he looks at risk and reward,
Hmm.
how he interprets danger, and I think that would be different for everybody. And that's really the message, that you want to go and experience different things. They're going to make you grow. You're going to build stories that you can talk to with your friends over a podcast or over a coffee later. um, but I related to it because I'm somebody who enjoys ice skating. You know that I try to gather a crowd around me every time there is an ice skating rink around me. But I also know that it is very risky. It can be very risky. Of course, we go to the casual rinks. We are not that fast.
Fast.
But
Yeah.
what happens is with ice skating, there are some days when you are in flow. You just feel like today I'm feeling the skates on the ice and I can experiment.
Hmm.
And for this feeling, you have to know only very basics of skating.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's just your day, it's just you start feeling it. You could be fairly new, you've not done it many times, but you've skated before, and on that day you're just feeling it. And in that moment, if you take risks without measuring what it could do, or going beyond your means, or underestimating the risk involved, that's when accidents happen.
Yeah.
And so
So,
now I'm this one.
yeah. So,
Go on.
see, in all of this discussion, I think we are not giving enough credit to luck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, so whatever is, our comfort zone, whatever we talk about in motorcycling, ice skating, skydiving, luck is a huge thing, right?
Yeah.
You could be totally under control doing normal stuff, and somebody else could mess up around you and take you out,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yes,
or
indeed.
or it could be some problem in the surface where you are doing ice skating, you are, going for a very complex maneuver, and there is a cut in the ice, right? Yeah, those things are not in your control. So the only thing is you need to be comfortable with the idea that if your luck is bad on that day, this is going to be the consequence, and if you're still okay to move ahead, only then move ahead.
Correct. Correct. Hey, I'm having a great time, but we're coming to the end of this podcast. I have only about couple of things more to kind of probe you with or ask you. I have the last two questions, and they are more for people who are listening to us. I want to know, Atinder, if there is a belief you have changed your mind about over the years.
Belief about what?
About anything.
I no, we constantly try to learn, right? So there are a lot of beliefs that have changed over the years, right? And hardly anything has stayed the same, right? My understanding about strengths and weakness, or my understanding about training, my worldview about luck, all of that has completely changed, right? I used to be an extremely overconfident person, right? not giving enough credit to circumstances, right? To scenarios, to other people, to luck. That's not true anymore, right? I feel that I'm extremely lucky, right? And there is very less control that we have as human beings, and yeah, that has been a big transformation for me.
And that's wonderful to hear, because I think if you're not evolving, what's human um, about life then?
Yeah.
And lastly, two things. Are there any films or books that you have read that you would like to recommend? And the second part of my question is, if you could leave me and all our listeners with a question, not an answer, a question that they can carry with them.
Okay. Yeah. So regarding a book or a movie, I would recommend book. Yeah. um, Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. It's an extremely difficult book to read because it's quite uh, it's big, it's intense, right? It is scientific, but it can fundamentally change your perception about how the brain works.
All right.
Yeah, Daniel
I would
Kahneman, yeah,
probably
is a
go on, go on.
Nobel laureate, right? And his work is amazing in the field of behavioral economics. Yeah. Mm.
I see.
But this book is about the brain, right? Which is fundamental to behavioral economics. So I feel that everyone should definitely read this, right? Apart from that, there is a book called Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins. Amazing book. Yeah. Not recommended if you are if you have rigid religious beliefs though. Yeah. Only if you are open-minded towards science, then read this book. And lastly, I would say Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. That's an amazing read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. I think I am going to be the first one to go and buy these books. Any question that you would want to leave our listeners
Yeah,
with?
the most interesting question to answer is um, what's the point of life? Why are we doing any of
Uh,
this? Right?
Yeah.
That's a very personal
Yeah.
question for everyone, and everyone's answer will be different.
And that's the interesting part of it.
But it is one question that you might have an answer uh, right now, but that answer also might change after a few years, right? So this is one question that you should keep getting back to, and be comfortable with the responses.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you for spending so much time with me. Thank you for this
welcome.
conversation, which had physics, sports, humanity, evolution, questions, along with answers. Thank you so much, Atinder. This was such a pleasure. Thank you to our listeners for spending time with us both today. Before we go, I will leave you all with a thought. As Sagan has said, we are all made of star stuff. And so remember that and go do that thing that you've been quietly putting off. The thing that you keep telling yourself that you'll do someday, even the thing that you think you're going to do tomorrow, do it today. And when you do, I'll be very happy to hear from you. So write to me. But until then, this is Shruti, and this is the Curious Human Project, a space for thoughtful questions, lived experiences, and conversations that remind us that we are all still figuring it out. I'll see you all next time for another curious conversation. Thank you very much.